Friday edition of Journalist Hangout. I'm Benga Oreshegun. Today on the program, TCN reports rise in infrastructure attacks. Yelwata IDPs protest over starvation in camp. And later on the show, federal government closes case against Nnamdi Kanu in terrorism and treason trial, as IPOB says linking him to NSAS is baseless. Well, I'll be hanging out with Mayor Akinpelu and Dotun Oladipo. Journalist Hangout starts right now. Now let's begin the conversation. Infrastructure is the backbone of any thriving economy, but when it becomes the target of repeated sabotage, the consequences can be devastating. The Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, is raising serious concerns over the increasing cases of vandalism on its power infrastructure. According to the General Manager of Transmission Service, Mr. Ali Sharifa, no fewer than 42 incidents have been recorded so far in 2025, affecting 178 transmission towers across the country. Speaking at a media workshop in Kefi, Nasarawa State, Sharifa noted that 2024 and 2025 have been particularly challenging, describing the sustained attacks by non-state actors as a threat to national progress and energy security. Okay, Mayor, let's start this way. What in your opinion is responsible for this recent surge in attacks in TCN installations?
If you notice that we've discussed the issue on this platform before, when they had this issue and there was not electricity in the northern part, especially the northwest, and the president had to give a go ahead. I think the problem has to do with government agencies not being alive to their responsibilities. Oh, why did I say so? The Nigerian Civil Defense Corps was established principally. In fact, they were allowed to bear arms basically because they were supposed to protect government infrastructures and government properties. That is their primary duty. That was why they were allowed to bear arms. You know, initially they were supposed to protect pipelines and major infrastructures.
Oil installations.
So the last time that we discussed, one of the things I said, I remember, was that they should make sure that Civil Defense Corps members are protecting these infrastructures. Because whether we like it or not, there are problems. That is, the general manager was saying that 24 and 25 was particularly challenging. It was particularly challenging because prior to this time, it was these vandals who wants to steal these infrastructures, cables and all that to sell. Those were the ones doing those things. But now we have bandits who are deliberately, because they want to operate in particular area, they particularly attack these infrastructures and make them not workable. That was why we had the issue the other time that the larger part of Northwest were in darkness for a long time. So if we know that this is the problem that we have, it's just like we have banditry in the Northwest and Boko Haram in the Northeast, and then we don't do anything. We just assume that the problem will go away. Of course, the problem won't go away. So it is important that we put security to protect these infrastructures.
Absolutely.
And the agency that can do that is the National Civil Defense Corps. Yes.
Exactly. I mean, but Dotun, looking at this, Mayor said some things, but do you think he has talked about NSCDC? How about the local communities? Do you think these local communities should be empowered or incentivized to guard this, this installations?
Well, it all depends on where those infrastructure, where you have them. In the north, for instance, most of these things are on highways. Some are not even close
to the communities.
The first thing we need to talk to ourselves about in this country is the fact that any government facility belongs to us. A lot of people don't realize that. Beyond this power infrastructure, look at Third Mainland Bridge, for instance. When you go to, using Lagos now as an example, when you go to Bega, where we all had this beautiful edifice when Governor Ambode was in power.
Okay.
Go there now, you will see that all of those things have been damaged. People have been picking them. All the barriers, they've taken them out. And this is right in the heart of Lagos. So it means that what some people see when these things are put in place is an opportunity to enrich themselves at the expense of others.
Stiffer penalties. Stiffer penalties. Do you think stiffer penalties can solve this issue?
Yes, to some extent, yes. Because you see, there must be deterrent.
True.
If you don't put that in place, if people know that they can do something and get away with it, they will do it, especially if they are going to benefit from doing that. That, like he said, you will see a beautiful overhead that the government has constructed. Some people will go there and vandalize it. You will see manholes in streets.
Yes,
people will go there and remove
exactly.
them. You understand? Even before on Thornway Library, they used to remove the railings and all that. That's why they changed it to cement now. All those aluminum railings, people used to remove it. People will do, when people know that they can get away with something, they will do it. So there must be deterrent to stop them from
real
that.
tracks.
Yes, that when you do some things, you are going to pay for it. There must be stiffer penalties. I agree with that. But the most important thing is that we must make provisions that there are some people who will do this thing. Crime. Despite the fact that even when you ask people that these are the penalties for crime, some people will still do it.
Yes.
That's how it works. Even when they said, armed robbers, you are going to die with firing squad, there will be capital punishment. People would still engage in armed robbery. So we have to make provisions that there are some people that will still get involved in these things, vandalizing this infrastructure. But it will reduce if the stiff deterrent, because they will know that some people will be able to say, okay, no, let me do this.
Exactly.
If it's something that is going to cost me so much,
absolutely.
I think we should look at that.
Absolutely. I mean, your thoughts on this?
I agree with that completely.
And also, why are we not harnessing technology, drones, some sort of sensors?
Unfortunately, even if you do that, without, like my Oga said, somebody to effect the arrest, it comes to nothing.
What do you mean someone to effect the arrest? Like
if you are flying your drones,
and there are no people on ground
to arrest,
effect those things,
it's useless. Because it's like you are just watching and you are doing nothing. That's what it comes to. And really, we've said it a number of times on this program. There is a need to be for number of security. NSCDC that is being spoken about now is guarding pipelines.
Are they guarding
unit?
We have time.
We are going there. Yes, we are going there.
There's some aspect
of it.
Yes.
We are going there. It is also a unit has been brought out that is now called mining marshals from this same limited number who are manning all these.
Mining sites.
It's like we're not enough in terms of
overstretched.
Yes. So when you now come to putting them in places where you have, say, for instance, you have 1 or 2 transmitters here or transformers or a power installation, they will also have to consider the volume of what they are protecting, which is more important. I don't know if you understand it. A mining site that is worth $1 billion,
yes,
and then a TCN site that is worth maybe $40 million. You prioritize.
Okay,
and
they'll
begin
prioritize
to look at what they can do, because really I know what is going on within, because I can say I belong in that sector. I'm a product of that sector. So they have to do a lot of thinking. You have 10 men doing the job of maybe 100 men.
That's part of the problem.
It's part of the problem. So they can't be everywhere. Look at how they do with rail tracks, for instance. But I'm going to say, I've traveled on this Lagos Benin Road.
Okay.
When they see that there is a particular spot where men run onto the express from the bush, they quickly go and man that area. Before you know it, they are coming out in another place. There was a day I was traveling and we just saw something in front, and at a checkpoint. Those guys said, at that spot where they were, the mobile policemen, they just killed some people 3 days ago. So they've now seen where they are. They've moved like 1 kilometer down. So that's the way it is. You keep pursuing, and like you call them, they are non-state actors who can. It's a guerrilla war, not a conventional one.
What could lead people to do things? Is it poverty?
Of course, it's poverty. Yes, it's poverty. It's poverty and the will to survive. You see, when people are desperate, they do desperate things. So, and there are a lot of people who see opportunities in those things. To them, they don't care that somebody can, if you remove a manhole, for example, somebody could come, run into that manhole,
and it could cause,
something very serious. But the man is not saying that. The man is not interested. The man is looking at it that the state has not taken care of me, and I need to survive. So if I remove this manhole and I melt it, I can do some things with it. It is bad. That is why there must be steep penalties for doing that. But like I insist, we have to, if we need to employ more men, then we'll go ahead and do that, because it is not reasonable for you to have infrastructures as important as TCN transmitters, that without that TCN, whatever the GENCOs and the DISCOs are doing will not come to naught without the transmission company. So if we know that, it's important for us to protect this infrastructure, because it's just like you have your house and you don't have a security there, and you say because you are short of men, you have to. You understand what I'm saying? You have to look at this. That when you look at the telcos, you will see that they have transmitters everywhere, but they will put generator there. They will have a security man there. You understand? That will protect that generator and prevent the infrastructure that is there. So government also has to do that. Because government is the one controlling TCN for now. So government has to do that.
Absolutely. All right, gentlemen, let's move straight to our next conversation. Now, for